word alcohol is said to be derived from the Arabic al-kuhul, which refers to a body-eating spirit, and is the source of the modern word ghoul. Perhaps this is why alcoholic drinks are called spirits, and informally, booze. And we all know the malefic effects of consuming alcohol, which is known as the consumption, which is the consumption of one's body and the degeneration and the degradation of one's own body. And of course, anyone who has lived with alcoholism or an alcoholic knows the effects of alcohol and how it affects the human consciousness and the human psyche. Literally, they become blackout drunk, and they essentially, figuratively and allegorically, seem to become possessed by some sort of consumptive spirit from consuming this alcohol. And of course, it literally eats the body, and it degenerates the cells and destroys the brain cells, destroys the human mind. And it literally opens one up to external influences, i.e. the substance itself.
Goddamn soul. Just a glass of beer. Hi, Lloyd. A little slow tonight, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Mr. Torrance. What'll it be?
I'm awfully glad you asked me that, Lloyd. Because I just happen to have 2 20s and 2 10s right here in my wallet. I was afraid they were going to be there till next April. So here's what. You slip me a bottle of bourbon, a little glass, and some ice. You can do that, can't you, Lloyd? You're not too busy, are you?
No, sir. I'm not busy at all.
Good man. You set him up and I'll knock him back, Lloyd. One by one. White man's burden, Lloyd, my man. White man's burden. Say, Lloyd, it seems I'm temporarily late. How's my credit in this joint, anyway?
Your credit's fine, Mr. Torrance.
That's swell. I like you, Lloyd. I always liked you. You were always the best of them. Best goddamn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine. Or Portland, Oregon, for that matter.
Thank you for saying so.
I never laid a hand on him, goddammit. I didn't. I wouldn't touch one hair on his goddamn little head. I love the little son of a bitch. I'd do anything for him. Any fucking thing for him. But that bitch, as long as I live, she'll never let me forget what happened. I did hurt him once, okay? It was an accident. Completely unintentional. Could have happened to anybody. And it was 3 goddamn years ago. The little fucker had thrown all my papers all over the floor. All I tried to do was pull them up. A momentary loss of muscular coordination. Few extra foot-pounds of energy per second.
The effects of consuming alcohol on the human body, literally, well, alcohol is fermentation, and fermentation in the human body creates an environment ideal for parasites to come in and literally to consume that fermentation in order to break down those acids that are formed through the fermentation process. So the consumption of alcohol literally leads to the consumption of your physical body, as well as the consumption of the human spirit. It is literally the death of the human spirit, the human soul.
Do you think parasites are connected with a lot of the diseases we have today?
No.
I think it exists. I don't think it's a big problem.
Are you interested in knowing what parasites do to you?
Probably, I mean, yeah.
Probably not for me. I'll be honest, it doesn't really interest me.
There's tons of people that have parasites and don't even know it.
It's a big, very big issue.
At the beginning, I didn't believe that I had parasites.
People need to cleanse more often.
I did. I had parasites. That was nasty thing.
I was really shocked when I found out that this is something that affects every single living human, in fact, every single living organism on the face of the earth.
I experienced parasites coming out of my body about 3, 4, 5 times.
You could be leading a healthy lifestyle. You could be jogging, eating raw food, taking vitamins, and all those kind of things, but these guys don't care. These guys are persistent, they're dangerous, they're deadly. They've been around for millions of years. They know what they're doing, and they're inside of all of us, and we're constantly being exposed to this.
There's definitely a problem with it.
There's a war going on, and it's going on inside every one of us, and this is something that we all need to take very seriously.
This is not science fiction. This is scary, it's real, and it's serious. Monsters living inside us that eat our bodies and control our emotions, urges, and thoughts. A Discover magazine feature article said that every living thing has at least one parasite that lives inside of it, and humans have far more. This silent issue is so important, former President Jimmy Carter is putting intensive efforts into increasing global awareness of this serious issue.
As a colon hydrotherapist for approximately 21 years now, you wouldn't believe what I see coming out of people's bodies.
This is not just a third world country thing. Everybody has them. Even normal people with lots of money living in suburbia who take showers 3 times a day. If you eat sushi, you have parasites. 1 square inch of raw sushi meat can contain 10,000 parasite larvae and eggs that begin hatching inside you the minute you eat it. The most common kind is tapeworms, which can grow to 60 feet long and live in your intestines for decades.
When I have clients that absolutely love sushi, I find that they have an inordinate amount of that particular problem, of like clusters of parasites.
If you have pets, you are guaranteed to have parasites. It doesn't matter if you're vegetarian, raw foodist, vegan, or macrobiotic. Even the healthiest and richest people on earth have parasites. You can't kill them all, only control them, because our bodies have trillions of cells which rely on helpful bacteria like probiotics to work right. If we kill all the organisms in our body, we kill ourselves. The secret is to keep the bad guys to a minimum. Make our bodies so healthy and clean, the undesirable guests won't want to stick around. Don't feed them the junk food they love. Sweet stuff, bread, alcohol, rice, pasta, milk, cookies, crackers, cereal, meat, cheese, cooked foods, refined carbohydrates, soft drinks, commercial fruit juices, junk foods. They love the food you love and hate the food you hate. Even letting yourself become run down energetically allows them to get stronger. So who's winning, you or them? There are hundreds of thousands of types of parasites, ranging from huge worms to the single-celled amoebas that can cross the blood-brain barrier and begin digesting your brain and other organs like your liver, heart, and kidneys. They are silent. They move very slowly so you don't feel them or know they're there. That's how they want it. If you don't know they're there, then you won't do anything about it. They are smart. Parasites are living alien creatures who live off of others. They eat your food. They poop their waste inside you, making your blood, lymph, and tissues toxic. We are living in their sewage. Did you know 1/3 of your poop isn't even yours? It's waste that's been pooped out by parasites. You think you're clean? Think again. Everyone has parasites. They're everywhere. It's almost impossible not to come in contact with them. They are in the air. You can breathe them in. A single handshake can transfer over 500,000 organisms. Anything other people touch, shopping carts, door handles, toilet seats, doorknobs, signature pins, daycare centers, diaper changes, and pets, which pick up tiny unseen organisms from the ground they walk on, carpeting, grass, dirt, lawns, especially grass and lawns that have been used for defecating. Animals lick their butt and then lick their fur, and then you pet that fur, absorbing parasites directly into your skin, while others wait for you to put your hand near your face, where they enter through the nose, mouth, and eyes. They eat your food and use your body as a breeding ground, sucking you dry of nutrition, energy, and life force. Some worms can lay millions of eggs a day. If you break apart a tapeworm, the broken part can regrow into another worm. Common signs of parasites are you're tired a lot, sleeping problems, constant itching, weakness, headaches, lack of appetite, or hungry all the time, especially for sweet foods and carbs, flu-like symptoms, depression, skin problems, acne, arthritis, joint pains, eczema, dermatitis, sinus problems, breathing and lung problems like pneumonia, then uncontrollable coughing, lumps under the skin, cysts, diarrhea and constipation, sometimes alternating back and forth, mucus in your stool, irritable bowel syndrome, stomach aches, cramps, digestion problems, nausea, overly dry lips, vision and eye problems, gas, bloating. Parasites can burrow into your brain and cause nerve damage and eye problems. They can multiply so much in your gut what you think is fat may in fact be entire nests of parasites. They can clog up your digestive tract so much no food can get through, making you constipated. They love to live in your stomach and intestines because that's where all the food goes, and you feed them every day. As a matter of fact, it's said that almost every health condition known can be connected with parasites in some way.
I've seen actual tapeworms come out of a person. It looked like flat, long spaghetti strands. 2 of them.
A 40-foot tapeworm can have 3,000 to 4,000 segments, each one of which can grow into its own piece. It can lay over 1 million eggs a day. If you are skinny and have trouble gaining weight, or have ever had a dog lick your face, if you have abdominal cramping or appendix pains, or liver, gallbladder, pancreas issues, or lung problems, you might very well be host to 1 or more huge tapeworms. Pinworms. If you have sleeping problems, itchy butt, joint pain, or female problems, those are common pinworm symptoms. Whipworms are a type of roundworm that secretes a digestive fluid that liquefies your colon wall so they can eat it. Over 1 billion people have whipworms. Roundworms look like fat spaghetti and are one of the most common human infections. One roundworm can lay 2 million eggs per day, and they can live for years. They hatch in your colon, then penetrate the intestinal wall, enter the bloodstream and lymph system, and then make their way to the liver, heart, and eventually the lungs, where they grow to 2 inches long, pass through the air sacs into the throat, causing uncontrollable coughing, where they are swallowed so they can go back down in the intestines, where they lay more eggs and start the whole thing all over again. Roundworms cause pneumonia-like symptoms, breathing problems, chest tightness, asthma, heart problems, fluid retention, mucus in the lungs, nagging cough, digestive problems, stomach pains, cramping, nausea, bloating, malnutrition, protruding stomach, and intestinal blockages. Sushi is one of the major sources of tapeworms, which can grow to over 50 feet long in your intestines. Walking barefoot is a good way to pick them up, not just in dirt and grass or in the house of pets, but also the beach. Hookworms. Remember the movie Alien? Hookworms have 4 sets of teeth so they can eat your intestinal walls and suck your blood. People with hookworms lose a lot of blood and don't even know it. Parasites can penetrate the placenta in a pregnant woman and enter the baby. They can even be passed through breast milk. Parasites can even contribute to infertility and childbirth difficulties. If a child is born, it can have retarded mental and physical abilities. People with parasites are never living life to its fullest capacity because they are sucked dry of energy, minerals, nutrition. They are tired all the time, depressed, and barely alive. All their life force goes to the parasites.
We're all subject to this, like it or not. It's a fact.
Tests done at funeral homes showed that 97% of the body fluids in people were totally consumed with parasites and worms. Scientists are just beginning to discover exactly how powerful and disturbing these hidden monsters can be. Our cells are controlled by chemical signals. Parasites emit a chemical that directly affects our behavior, thoughts, decisions, and urges. Think about that. Something inside us that's not us, causing us to make unsafe decisions, so we eat, drink, and do things that benefit the parasite, including physical contact with other people so the parasite can spread. Why do we eat foods and do things we know are bad for us? Why is this so hard to resist? They look like snakes. Even the Book of the Essenes refers to the parasite as Satan, the serpent living inside us, tempting us, ruining our health, breaking apart our relationships, and ruining our lives. Throughout all of history, they've been warning us. Think about it. From the very beginning, Adam and Eve were tempted by the serpent. What's really creepy is the thought there's a serpent within each of us, tempting us to do things we really shouldn't. In this engraving from the 1500s, we can see Adam and Eve feeding the serpent, the parasite. To many, true health and being in a loving monogamous relationship is paradise, and feeding the serpent exiles you from paradise. Everything is more connected than you think. What you eat, who and what you touch, your health, your moods, your relationships, everything. What can you do about it? Start by doing the right thing. Don't give in to temptation. Clean your environment and your body. Stop eating foods that feed parasites. Do a serious 3-month parasite cleanse. The healthiest way to fight parasites is with natural herbs.
Okay, I want to talk about detoxification. Your body is basically just trillions of cells and 2 major fluids, blood and lymph. Blood feeds the cells, lymph is the sewer system. And if it gets clogged, bad things happen. You see, when lymph stagnates, it hardens and turns to acid, which damages organs, glands, joints, etc., causing soreness, inflammation, pain, and degeneration. Acid damage in the brain leads to dementia, in the eyes, cataracts, in the lungs, COPD or emphysema, in the joints, arthritis, in the colon, Crohn's disease or IBS. The list goes on and on. Also, when lymph burns away at cells for a long time, they can mutate and become cancerous. The lymph system needs to be cleaned constantly, yet most adult kidneys are not filtering lymph properly. Dirty lymph becomes a breeding ground for all sorts of nasty creatures like viruses, bacteria, and parasites, leading to ailments like lupus, Lyme, fibromyalgia, candida, etc. The medical community will want to give you specific drugs to treat individual symptoms, but why try to kill all the alligators when you can just drain the swamp? Detoxification is also essential to purge the onslaught of toxins we're being exposed to, like pesticides, food additives, household chemicals, air and water pollution, radiation, and lots more. Major diseases are on the rise and becoming epidemic. According to our own government, Americans now have more than a 40% chance of getting cancer. If you're an African American, it's almost a 50% chance. 1 in 3 Americans will have diabetes by 2050 if the present trend continues. Coronary heart disease now kills over 400,000 Americans a year. I urge you to get your lymph moving and detox the body now. Here's a test. Pee into a jar, you want it to be cloudy. If it's clear, your kidneys are not filtering lymph and you need to start detoxing immediately. With the help of raw living foods and organic herbs, we can help you return your body to the health and vitality that is your birthright. Oh yeah, you'll probably lose some weight and look and feel a whole lot younger too. Order a consultation or detox plan at our website today. Thanks a lot for listening and good luck.
Now, when we look at alcohol itself, alcohol, we refer to it as poison, as in pick your poison. What's your poison? What'll it be? As if it's some kind of joke, as if it's not to be taken literally, which it literally is poison. And when we look at the actual branding of some of the alcohol out there that's being marketed by these Illuminati corporations, such as, here we have this brand of wine called Poison Zinfandel, and their slogan, "The wine to die for," must be owned by hardcore Satanists. One must know that the wine industry is procured by some of the most elite Satanists, such as the Rothschild dynasty. One need only study the labels and the symbolism to have that fact slap you in the face, let alone to research the social connections, not to mention the disgraceful effects of alcohol on the human being, especially when we consider Dr. Masaru Emoto's work on how words and symbols and consciousness affects the structure of water itself. This shit will literally kill you, especially with these brandings and these labels, with the words such as poison labeled right on the bottle itself, engraved into the bottle.
Looking. This next series of photographs are the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence the human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of water. Please remember that water comprises over 70% of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope that has photographic capabilities. His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water. This photo is from the fountain in Lourdes, France. This photo is from contaminated water from the Yodo River in Japan. In this photo, we can compare the contaminated water with clean stream water. Look at the difference. Mr. Emoto decided to see what effects music would have upon the structure of water. He placed distilled water between two speakers for several hours while playing different music and then photographing the crystals that formed after the water was frozen. This photo is of water being exposed to Beethoven's Pastorale. This photo is the effect of Bach's Air for the G-string on the water. This photo is water exposed to Chopin's Farewell Song. This next photo is water being exposed and affected to music that was designed for healing. This photo is of water being exposed to the Kawachi folk dance. This photo shows the effect of heavy metal music upon the water. Here now we can compare the effects of healing versus heavy metal music and what happens to the water molecules. Mr. Emoto decided to see how thoughts and words affected the formation of untreated distilled water crystals by typing words onto paper and then taping this paper onto glass bottles overnight. This photo shows the effects of the words, "Thank you." This next photo shows the effects of the words, "Love and appreciation." This photo shows the effects of the words, "You make me sick, I will kill you." And here we can compare the effects of "thank you" with the "you make me sick, I will kill you." Very, very different geometric forms being incurred through the intention. Now this photo is of a very polluted and toxic water from the Fujiwara Dam. Here now is the same water from the Fujiwara Dam after a Buddhist monk had offered a prayer over it. Prayer, that sound coupled with intention, seems to have an extraordinary ability of restoring water to its natural, harmonious, geometric symmetry. And in this photo we can compare the toxic water and then the effects of praying over the water. It's really quite impressive. These photographs that we have just seen show proof that not only does sound have the ability of affecting and changing physical structure, but that with regard to the molecular structure of water, that our intent with our sound is extremely important. This may have great implications for the future of both personal and planetary harmony and healing.
Al-Ghoul has further roots in the constellation of Perseus, and the star known as Al-Ghoul or Al-Ghoul, which comes from Arabic Ra'az al-Ghul, meaning the demon's head. Al-Ghoul literally signifies a mischief maker, and the name still appears in the modern word ghoul. Every 68 hours and 49 minutes, this demon star blinks for roughly 8 hours as the dimmer star of the pair passes between the brighter star and the Earth. The Gorgon's head, a ghastly sight, deformed and dreadful, and a sign of woe. The Hebrews knew Al-Ghoul as Rosh Hashanah, Satan's head, but also as Lilith, Adam's legendary first wife, the nocturnal vampire from the lower world that reappeared in the demonology of the Middle Ages as the witch Lilith, one of the characters in Goethe's Walpurgis Night. Ra's al Ghul is a fictional supervillain appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics, commonly as an adversary of the superhero Batman. Ra's al Ghul's high status as a supervillain has also caused him to come into conflict with Superman and other superheroes in the DC universe. So in other words, Al-Ghoul, or alcohol, is the supervillain and most adversarial to Batman and Superman. Wouldn't you know?
This immortal is one of Batman's most enduring adversaries. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we will explore the comic book origins of Ra's al Ghul.
Well? Are you man enough to face your better?
As with most comic book characters, there are often reimaginings and different versions to a character's past. We have chosen to primarily follow the storyline which unfolded in 1971's Batman number 232, and which was expanded upon in 1992's Batman, Birth of the Demon. Ra's al Ghul was born nearly 700 years ago. He grew up in a tribe of Chinese nomads wandering the Arabian desert. Fascinated with science, he decided to leave his tribe at a young age to live in a city and become a physician. There he married the love of his life. Soon after, Ra's discovered a natural pool of chemicals that could restore life and heal injury. Calling it the Lazarus Pit, he used it to save the life of a dying prince. Unfortunately, the life-giving pool had the side effect of causing the royal to go mad and kill Raz's wife. The Sultan blamed Raz for the murder, as he couldn't admit that his own son had committed the crime. In turn, Raz was taken to the desert and left to die in a cage with his wife's corpse. Rescued by the grandson of one of his patients, the duo soon sought out Raz's nomadic tribe. Together, they overthrew the Sultan and his kingdom. This was done through Raz's advanced understanding of germs and disease. He used this knowledge to infect the prince, and in turn was asked for a cure. Instead, Raz slaughtered the royal family and the entire city. From then on, he became known as Ra's al Ghul, Arabic for the demon's head. Using the Lazarus Pit to extend his own life, he experienced an immediate burst of madness. While it turned out to be a short-term effect, he would never again be fully sane. He then traveled around the globe for several centuries and fought in countless wars. Eventually becoming an incredible warrior and master martial artist, Raz soon started despising those who would destroy the world's natural beauty. In response, he used his accumulated wealth to become the head of an international eco-terrorist organization called the Demon, as well as leading the League of Assassins. With countless ninjas at his command, he set forth to eliminate all evil around him. This eventually became a full-fledged mission to eradicate all of humanity in a bid to wipe the slate clean and start over. This agenda eventually spurred numerous clashes with Batman, who has constantly defied his plans. Early in their encounters, Raz's daughter Talia al Ghul fell in love with Batman. This prompted the immortal to consider Batman as a potential heir and discovered his true identity.
Just how did you learn who I am?
I control a vast global organization, Detective.
Due to Batman's insistence on defending a corrupt world and preventing genocide, Raz has since made Batman his mortal enemy. One of the Caped Crusader's many iconic foes, Ra's al Ghul has appeared in various media over the years. Among these, he is best known for his portrayal by Liam Neeson and his decoy, played by Ken Watanabe, in 2005's blockbuster Batman Begins.
Gotham must be destroyed.
Alcohol has a vibratory, disintegrating, dissolving, and destructive tendency. drying our tissues and destroying the nerve cells. It's clearly evident that alcohol tends to eliminate the capacity for independent thought and calm judgment since it fatally stimulates fantasy. It also shockingly debilitates ethical sense and individual liberty. Dictators, tyrants of all times were aware that it is easier to govern and enslave a nation of drunkards than that of sober ones. It's also well known that you can make someone in a state of intoxication accept any suggestion and carry out deeds which are contrary to their sense of decency and morality. The influence of alcohol on crime is notorious, so much so that it is unnecessary to stress that fact. Abominable alcohol turns incessantly within the vicious circle of time. It works itself in everywhere, ever tempting. It seems to have the knack for ubiquity, at once smiling from the gold of the silver goblet under the gilded ceiling of a pompous palace, or making the long-haired bard in some dreadful tavern sing. Malignant alcohol is at times very subtle and diplomatic. What does time not erode? Already our dear parents were inferior to our coarse grandparents. We are worse than they, and we are followed by corrupt descendants in the withered decadence between liquor and tragedy. With the passage of time, the atoms of the secret enemy, similar to microscopic pieces of glass, are encrusted within the living cells of the human organism. Divine beings as well as human beings know well that the demon alcohol takes possession of the human body very subtly and slowly until, one day, it precipitates us toward the abyss of drunkenness and insanity. Astrologers, of course, said Algol was the most unfortunate, violent, and dangerous star in the heavens, and it certainly has been one of the best observed as the most noteworthy variable in the northern sky. It causes misfortune, violence, decapitation, hanging, electrocution, and mob violence, and gives a dogged and violent nature that causes death to the native or others. It is the most evil star in the heavens. People astrologically influenced by Algol include Pablo Picasso, Salvador Dali, Van Gogh, Albert Einstein, Carl Abraham, Carl Jung, Marshall Applewhite, Luc Jouret, Al Gore, the name is very similar there, Billy Joel, Glenn Campbell, Liberace, Princess Diana, Prince William, Manly Palmer Hall, Aleister Crowley, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, Dean Martin, Ryan O'Neal, Joseph Stalin, Pat Schroeder, Carl Sagan, Isadora Duncan, Oscar Wilde, Michael Caine, Henry Fonda, and Stephen King, just to name a few, as well as yours truly. Delirium tremens is a severe form of alcohol withdrawal. It involves sudden and severe mental or nervous system changes. Delirium tremens can occur when you stop drinking alcohol after a period of heavy drinking, especially if you do not eat enough food. It's most common in people who have a history of alcohol withdrawal. It is especially common in those who drink 4 to 5 pints of wine, 7 to 8 pints of beer, or 1 pint of hard alcohol every day for several months. Delirium tremens also commonly affects people who have used alcohol for more than 10 years. Symptoms most often occur within 48 to 96 hours after the last drink, but they can occur 7 to 10 days after the last drink. Symptoms may get worse quickly and can include body tremors, changes in mental function, agitation, irritability, confusion, disorientation, decreased attention span, deep sleep that lasts for a day or longer, delirium, excitement, fear, hallucinations, seeing or feeling things that are not really there, increased activity, quick mood changes, restlessness, excitement, sensitivity to light, sound, and touch, stupor, sleepiness, fatigue. Seizures may occur without other symptoms of delirium tremens. Most common in the first 12 to 48 hours after the last drink. Most common in people with past complications from alcohol withdrawal. Symptoms of alcohol withdrawal including anxiety, depression, fatigue, headache, insomnia, difficulty falling and staying asleep, irritability and excitability, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, nervousness, jumpiness, pale skin, palpitations, sensation of feeling the heartbeat, rapid emotional changes, shakiness, sweating, especially on the palms of the hands or the face, Other symptoms that may occur: chest pain, fever, stomach pain. Delirium tremens is a medical emergency. The healthcare provider will perform a physical exam. Signs may include heavy sweating, increased startle reflex, irregular heartbeat, problems with eye muscle movement, rapid heart rate, rapid muscle tremors. Long-term and preventative treatment should begin after the patient recovers from delirium tremens symptoms. This may involve a drying out period in which no alcohol is allowed. Total and lifelong avoidance of alcohol. Counseling. Going to support groups such as AA or whatever support you can get. This video ended up getting a little into the realm of the religious aspect, of which I would like to apologize. And as always, as I always say in my videos, any of these manifestations are simply aspects of one's psychology. So any of these experiences are results and direct manifestations of one's own personal level of consciousness.